Hello everyone and welcome to another live today, Friday, November 19 of 2021. I have very special guests today. We have been working on our live for a while actually. So I'm going to be joined by Wen and Deb from Living Lela, and we will be talking about today her new product, the Fertility Ball Method. We're gonna ask them all the questions regarding their own journeys, what inspired them to create this beautiful, beautiful product, and all the company that they have. So let me just wait for them, and I'm gonna invite them. So I think I have here Deb us, and then we're gonna have our other beautiful friend, Debbie.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm good.
How are you?
Finally,
we were able
and
to
Deborah
do it.
should be, I think, joining soon also, so that'll be great. Yes.
Yes. In any moment. I was telling our audience that we have been working on our life for a while, quite a while. And, it has been amazing for me to have you. It's really an honor because, I have been following you for a while as well as you girls. And, fertility, it's such a big subject today, not only in women. We keep forgetting our male factor, right? Always come to, kind of to us because, well, we carry the babies, whatever it is, but we keep forgetting the male factor. And I think that now, taking advantage of your new product be launched, which is, our fertility balls, which I have here, and I
I'm
love
so
them
glad.
Yes, yes. And nowadays, when the world is all upside down, I think that yoga and, all of this kind of mindset is helping so much us. So in the meantime, while Deb joins, so while Wendy joins, I'm going to start to talk about who you are, girls, so our audience know, okay? I guess that she will request our, yes, she's here. Oh, it's on perfect time. So hold on. I think she's here. Hold on. Accept. Okay, while she joined, I guess that she has connection. I'm gonna go over of who is Living Lela. Well, Living Lela is a team of two beautiful women, Wendy and Deborah. It's a parent company of Soulful Conceptions, which offers a comprehensive collection of mind-body wellness, something that today we need so much. They offer all the tools and support for anyone going through fertility challenges, pregnancy, postpartum. I will even, close it in a big picture of trying to conceive naturally, no matter if it is that way or ART. The co-founders are Deborah Anderson and Wendy Upster, both of them my friends. Deborah is a health and neuropsychologist, yoga teacher, and Wendy, you are a certified yoga therapist and also CIAYT dash RYT 500. You are a doctor too, or something like that. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, I think they have a little issue of connections. We're gonna continue. Both have experienced their own fertility challenges, which is something that I absolutely love, because for me, when we have someone, hold on a second, please, everybody. When we have someone that have gone through any fertility challenge, that is the best person, the best individual that can help us, any one of us that is going through fertility challenges too. Hold on, I'm going to accept two of them, and then Wendy. So are you girls are on?
Hi, Monica. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
darling. Okay, hello.
There we go. Yay.
Yes, I can see you. So we are still missing one of you. But in the meantime, we are here. So I was going through over what is Living Lela. And I was giving, a little short bio of who you are, you and Wendy and Deb. So I was saying that both of you have experience with their own fertility challenges. And I always make parentheses on that part, that for me, and I think for our community, the best support come from someone that have walked that path too, because it's kind of, you know, that they are in the same shoes that we are when we are walking that path. Their goal is to normalize the conversation around infertility, and it's so important, and to tame the shame. Yes, because infertility is something that isolated us so much, make us feel, you know, embarrassed. We feel like our body is kind of failing us, and it's something that is really difficult. Their programs incorporate tools from yoga, breath work, meditations, mindfulness, which is something I think all the world today needs, psychology, and self-acupressure, which is what we're going to talk today about, the Fertility Ball Method, along with education on lifestyle factors that impact fertility and overall well-being, like, you know, nutrition, toxins, stress, and other emotional factors that can affect our fertility. So now we're going to jump into it. Before running into, you know, the questions, I want you ladies to give me a little bit of background of each of you. And as we mentioned in the bio, your own fertility challenges was, I guess, what inspired you to create what you have. So please, I give you the word, take it and talk to our audience.
Thank you so much, Monica. And I'm assuming you're seeing both of us. All is good technically here.
Yes, I see both of you, but one is kind of frozen. So I think that the, hold on, let me see. The other person probably can disconnect and join back again.
Okay. Is it me, Wendy, that looks frozen?
Yeah, well, yes, I you know, I see you both, you, Wendy, in both sides. So I think that the one that is missing is Debbie.
Because I can see her, but okay.
But I don't see her.
Let's see.
You want me to try to start again and then we jump back? Or maybe Wendy, you know, because if you see me and you see Wendy, maybe, and you see Debbie maybe can disconnect and then try to jump again, so I don't lose both of you.
So Deborah, if you just X out and then request to join again, or she'll.
Okay. Perfect. Yes.
There's always, you know, the technical side of this is always
it's always like that.
Uncertain, just like the fertility journey, right? It's all just uncertain.
Absolutely. And you know what? Listen, technical issues always happen. I am the less perfect person. I don't like to look for perfection because always something happens.
Totally.
That's what it is. Okay, so in the meantime, please you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we wait for them.
Absolutely. So I'm Wendy, and part of the team of Living Leela. I'm so happy to be here. And yeah, I mean, my fertility journey, it's funny because I actually started teaching fertility yoga way before I was ever even on my own journey. And part of it was just, I had met my teacher, mentor, which is also Deborah's, who her name is Brenda Strong, and she's a pioneer in the fertility world. And I met her and I was training under her, and her specialty was fertility yoga. And even though I was not at the time seeking that out for myself, I fell in love with the work because it's so much about tapping into the feminine energy and about being in the moment, you know, about being versus doing, and how we can start to be more receptive in our life and in our bodies and all of that. She's back, yay.
Yes, now I can see the both of you. Okay.
Yeah, and so I kind of fell into teaching fertility yoga by default because I fell in love with the work. And then actually in 2009 is when I met Deborah, because we were both doing an advanced training with Brenda for the Fertility Ball Method, actually. And Deborah was deep in her own fertility journey, which I'm sure she'll share about in a moment. And we became fast friends, and we also realized that we have this beautiful synergy when we teach together. You know, that we both have our backgrounds in yoga, but then I'm a yoga therapist and she's a psychologist, so it was this beautiful synergy. And then cut to 2012 when I started having my own fertility challenges. So I, you know, like a lot of people these days, I started later in life, and so I was already in my late 30s, and actually didn't really have trouble getting pregnant, but it was more about staying pregnant. And so I had 2 miscarriages, and you know, it's just one of those journeys that it doesn't matter the situation, it just is heartbreaking to go through that.
Yes.
And there's so many different factors and stories you hear, you know, in the TTC community, but it's always just as heartbreaking, you know, just going through that. So I felt really lucky at the time, though, because I was already had been teaching this work for so long that it was really a part of my life. And so I was able to integrate those tools, not to say that, you know, I didn't go into, you know, my own emotional stress and all of the things and physical stress and all of that. But I felt lucky to at least have the tools to apply. So it felt like it gave me that support that I needed. And then ultimately, I have my son who's now 7.5. So, you know,
I'm
so
so happy for you. You know, that's really a big achievement when we go through this hell of infertility and fertility challenges.
Totally. So that's kind of the short version of my story. Deborah, do you want to share?
Yeah,
Please,
hi.
Debbie.
Oh,
Hi.
thank you. Hi, Monica. Hi, everyone. Sorry for the technical glitches. So I came to the work, as Wendy was saying, when I was on my journey, and I was a health psychologist. That's my main job, and I had also become a yoga teacher. So when I started having my challenges, I wanted to see if there was something for fertility in the yoga world, and found Brenda Strong, and again, as Wendy said, jumped in on the teacher training, and that's how we all met and went through this. So yeah, I came to fertility later in life too. I was in graduate school forever. I met my husband in my 30s, and so I had a stepdaughter with him. I have a stepdaughter with him. And so we started trying a little bit later. And, you know, I always tell people too, even as a health practitioner, I remember in my late 30s reading, you know, basic books like Taking Charge of Your Fertility, and think, like, why haven't I learned these things before? Why did nobody teach me these as a woman before? And so, you know, I'm so grateful. I found Wendy and Brenda and all of this work. My story is different from Wendy's. I was never able to get pregnant. But I'm, again, so blessed to have my stepdaughter, and now I have 3 grandchildren. So they keep me super busy. So, yeah. So, and I, you know, just to keep it short, but, you know, years later, because I'm such a seeker of knowledge, you know, really investigating my own body and studying these things to help our clients that we work with, you know, found certain health issues in myself that probably it was a good thing that my body didn't get pregnant. So, you know, one of the things I tell people is there's always a perfection to the story, right? There's gifts there that sometimes we don't see in the moment. So I'm very grateful for how it all turned out. And one of the things we talk to people often about is that there are many ways to mother. And so, you know, I have lots of beautiful people in my life that I get to mother in this different way. So I'm so grateful for all of that.
I absolutely love both of your stories, and we definitely need to do another live to the end of it, because I also was around 33, 34 in my late 30s. And as a personal opinion, girls, I can tell you, I think that age is something that is kind of a myth, in the sense of, if we know, like you say, Debbie, and you, Wendy, we take care of our bodies, or if our parents, remember, it's coming from our ancestors. So our parents taught us whatever they knew from their own parents. And, you know, the knowledge being expanded. Today, I wish to know more when I was 20. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like you say, Debbie, know more my body. But definitely, as we open more our minds and as we learn with our own journey, we can teach our kids. I love the fact that you say that there is so many ways to mother, and this is something that our community should kind of be a little bit more open. So thank you so much, each of you, for that little introduction. Now I want to jump into the questions, because we're going to talk about today your amazing product, the fertility yoga balls, that I love them. I swear, I was telling you, it's so cute. You know, it's even just to have it, you know, I like when I am lying down with my husband, is like, I have my hand, I have something, I need to have something in my hands always. So he's like, why you need to have something? This is incredible. So let's jump into you just launched this beautiful product, right?
Well, actually, we've relaunched our whole kind of program and platform. So this product actually, and I just want to clarify, this product was created by our mentor teacher, Brenda Strong. So this is her product. And it was launched back in 2009 or 2010 or something like that. But we've kind of relaunched, kind of rebirthed our whole kind of offerings, if you will, of Soulful Conceptions, which we had originally launched back in 2018. And we've just given it all kind of a reorganization, a facelift, a little more user-friendly in terms of the platform.
That
And
sounds
so,
amazing.
yeah, and so it's just, you know, this was an opportunity, and I have my side of the fertility balls here too, but this was just an opportunity to really kind of relaunch all of this with a little bit new energy, if you will.
Yes.
So yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that, you know, we're very lucky that we got to train under Brenda and that she's one of our friends and mentors, and we were able to to integrate the fertility ball method into our lives and into our practice. Yeah,
That's amazing. When and like it's so nice and kind of funny what you say, is like a facelift, something like that.
Totally.
That's really what it is. Okay, so let's start with a question that is, you know, there is yoga that
That's right.
a lot of people practice in the world, but what is the difference between the regular and normal yoga and fertility yoga? Because I know for a fact that that's why it calls fertility yoga, because it's like a little root from the whole world of yoga that has a specific thing. So what is the difference, ladies?
Yeah, so let's just first talk about what's yoga, right? So a lot of people even just think of yoga as the poses, the asana, when they go to class and they're practicing poses. But yoga really is a bigger umbrella of the poses, breath work, meditation, behavioral practices called the yamas and niyamas, concentration, working to connect to your sort of higher, wiser self. So when people ask me, do I do yoga every day? I say yes, but I'm not always on the mat in the studio every day,
Yeah.
right? So that's an important thing to remember. Yoga is really about training this. So we incorporate all of those different elements of a yoga practice. So you're going to, if you do the work with us, do poses on the mat and do breath work and do meditations. But some of the poses, some of the breath work, some of the ball work, of course, which is self-acupressure work, is geared towards enhancing fertility, in part by working to bring more blood flow, let's say, into the belly is one of the things, and getting to move and detoxify down there in a more mindful way. And some of the mental work is geared more specifically to visualizations or breath work that's fertility based. So yeah, Wendy, you want to add anything else?
Yeah, and just that, no, that was so beautiful. And I love Deborah always differentiates in terms of explaining
Yes.
what yoga is, because like she said, there's ideas, people have ideas or no knowledge at all. So thank you, Deborah. I would just add that we're teaching practices within the fertility yoga practice that are specific to the different phases of the menstrual cycle. So it's really honoring where the body is, which is another differentiation. And because we are well trained and we've been through all of this on our own, these are safe to do whether people are trying to get pregnant naturally or whether they're using art, for IVF or IUI.
Yes.
So that's a really important distinction as well. So we would know and be able to educate and do educate folks to let them know like kind of what to avoid depending on where they're at in their cycle, or if they're on follicle stimulating drugs and those types of things. So we never want people to feel fearful when they're in this practice, to think, that, if they have a cycle that doesn't work or they don't get pregnant that month, we never want them to ever feel like, was it something I did? Because there's truly little that we can really do to mess things up anyway, honestly. But we want people to really feel empowered, but also be educated and understand why they would be avoiding this at this time. So we're there to really educate them through that. And the other thing is that this really focuses on tapping into the feminine energy, more of that receptivity, more of kind of getting into the state of being able to surrender, which is very difficult to do just in normal life,
Extremely
but
difficult.
but especially like on the fertility journey, right? And Deborah, you talk so beautifully about this all the time, that just our nature, it's in our nature as human beings to want to control everything. And there's really so much that we just can't control. And so we teach the concept of being versus doing. And you know, the things that we can, to look at what can you control. You can control the choices you're making of what you're putting in and on your body, trying to maybe minimize environmental toxins. That's another thing that we educate on. And of course, our mental state, you know, like what are you ingesting mentally and emotionally as well, which is a big piece of this. Yeah, I think, anything I'm missing there?
Yeah, no, thank you. You put in very important things that my
Yeah.
brain was not remembering. And just teaching people really to understand stress and what that does to your body and the things you can do, right? So one of the beautiful things about yoga is there's such specific tools that you can use in this very moment to change how you're feeling, right? So we're all going to be sad some days and mad and scared and all of those things. That's just part of being human. But we do have a choice in terms of what we then can do to either stay there or shift out of it.
I
And
love
so, yeah. So we want to teach people, we want to, you know, just teach you, how does your whole mind body system work, and what can you do in the moment to change it, as well as some of the longer term things. Wendy briefly brought up the idea of the environmental toxins, right? So what we're eating, the toxins we're exposed to every day and potentially have been exposed to for years, sadly, are having an impact on our health and our fertility. And I think even more so now than ever. You know, Wendy and I, when we first started doing this work almost 15-ish years ago, you know, the majority of the people who were coming for our help were in that 37 to 45-year-old age range, right? That where you would expect, you know, the older advanced maternal age, as they call it. But we're having so many more people in their late 20s and early 30s coming to us now. Yeah, I know. I see your face, Monica. It's like, yeah,
Oh
it's like,
my
what the
gosh.
heck is going on in the world,
Yes.
right? And so, you know, whether we're talking about fertility or any other health issue, genetics don't change that fast. So there's something we're doing in the world in this last 100 and so years, especially for all of the diabetes and obesity and cancer and autoimmune disorders and autism and all of these things we're seeing that are becoming rampant, and fertility challenges. So those are some of the other parts that we potentially can impact in terms of making better lifestyle choices. So we think it's super important for people to learn and know about that, because a lot of people are knowing more about it now. 10, 12 years ago, most people hadn't heard about that. More people are, but there are still a lot of people who don't.
Yes,
So.
exactly. You girls say something so important, and I have seen it since I started my own coaching. Young ladies, like, you know, in their early 20s, mid 20s, close to early 30s, there is a lot, but like a very big number of infertility in this range of age. And it's what you both said has to do with the toxins and all what is been happening from 100 years back to now. And I have, you know, like the other day I was telling my husband, what all is happening now is also a part of this chaos that you, when they mentioned, is out of our control. Sometimes, like you both says, you know, we feel sad. There is days that I wake up like, so I'm going to be very honest with you ladies. Like, you know, I struggle to have my two girls. I went through 5 cycles of IVF. I have a stillbirth. I have a cancel cycle. I have a miscarriage, you know, like, and then when I see the world, I'm like, you know, I feel the love is so strong that I say, is that worth to leave this messy world to my kids? You know, that worries me. And then I realized the other day, I told my husband, you know what? With chaos comes awakening. And awakening is very scary. But at the same time, that is what is going to help me to teach my daughters, even when it comes to fertility. Today,
That's
you know,
right.
you have, right? So today with my 16-year-old, the moment she got her first period, I have it in calendar every month. I ask her, and she knows. She said, Mom, I got my period yesterday. Oh, because I don't want any symptom that I had, and I didn't pay attention because I didn't know better, and my parents didn't know better, for her to go through the same. So you ladies are so right in that. You said it's so difficult to learn that most of the things that happen around ourselves, we cannot control it, but it's our choice to be happy or to be sad. Suffering, you know, and pain exists, but to be stuck on it is our choice for sure. So
Definitely.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And
Now,
I love, Monica, real quick, that you're doing that with your daughter, right? Because I just want to add, a lot of times we hear stories of people saying, oh yeah, I had bad periods or I wasn't having periods, and the doctor put me on birth control pills. And, you know, then all of a sudden they get off of them when it's time to try to conceive. And they had these undiagnosed underlying conditions of PCOS or endometriosis or those kinds of things. So again, that awareness, like taking an interest in your body and your health and asking questions and not always just accepting like, oh, just do this is so important. So I love that you're
you
doing that with your
ladies
daughter.
say it, and I am proud of that, because it's just what you said. You see, my periods were very regular all the time, but they were painful like hell. I used to even lose consciousness from that, like super heavy. But if I and my mom was telling me, you know, my periods were like that. They were 9 girls, 9 boys, and all the 9 girls, the periods were the same. So for me it was normal, like you say, but we never enter into ask. And as also, as you say, sadly to say, I'm not going to say all, but sadly to say, today in this world, not only here in the States, but all over the world, our health system is completely broken. Doctors forgot that we are humans, that we are sensitive, that we have emotions. We are just a number, and that's it. Oh, go and take this, take that pill. And we are like, you know, okay, take the pill. And we don't know. We never even look into what, okay, I'm going to take this pill to fix this, but what is going to be the damage, you know, the
That's right.
side effect.
Right.
You
Or what is the root cause? Like that's the thing. And
exactly,
yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that we are talking about this all, because, you know, we need to kind of help others to be awake and to realize that, okay, it's something that maybe I can fix, even if I'm in my late 30s, or even if I am in my 20s. So now that we talk a lot about the difference between yoga, the fertility yoga, let's jump into the specific of the fertility ball method, how these work, ladies.
Yes, yes. So I love this product so much. It's just been such a part of our
Yeah, me too.
our work. I know you're like, I love it too. So really what it is it's a very simple self acupressure system for fertility. And it works with the same fertility meridians that are used in acupuncture. And just to say to the community out there, we very much believe in acupuncture. It is for fertility in particular, but it is one
Yes.
of the first things we ask our clients, are you doing acupuncture for fertility? It's very effective, and there's a lot of data pointing to that. And we have seen again and again, in particular, the combination of acupuncture and yoga together, and how that really is very powerful. So what I love about the fertility ball method is because it's working with the same acupressure points as acupuncture, excuse me, then, you know, you can use it every day and get those beautiful benefits. And most people either don't have the time or the resources to go to acupuncture. If they do, maybe once a week, you know, like, I mean, most insurance don't usually cover it, and it can be pricey and like all of the things. And so if they're able to get to acupuncture at least once a week, and then they're able to integrate the ball method, then to me, that is just like really taking your reproductive health into your own hands, like literally using the balls, placing it on your body, laying on it. And the other beautiful thing about utilizing this practice is that it does, you know, optimize your fertility. It's opening up those energy channels. It's, you know, softening connective tissue and adhesions and, you know, energetic blocks, like all of those things. But it's also very relaxing. So it's starting to really access that parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation response. And this is something that really can be, it can be a standalone practice. You can do a pose, or you can do all of the poses just as one practice. You could do a pose, you know, for 10 minutes, or it can be integrated into the fertility yoga practices that we teach. So a lot of the videos that we have on our platform for fertility yoga, it'll show how we integrate the ball method into those practices as well. So I just love that it's very versatile in that way.
Yeah.
And just going back to, like, there's so much out of our control, and there's so much like we want to do all these things, and there's all these things we are doing. Let's just talk about IVF for a second. There's all these things that you have to do. You're going to the doctor's appointments, you're doing the ultrasounds, you're doing the shots, it's like you're planning, you're trying to figure it all out, and then at some point there's nothing left to do. So that's the point where it's like, that's where we talk about, now we put into the practice of being. That's why like all these practices we've been teaching is hopefully going to allow you to go, okay, so this is something you can do.
Yes.
It's also going to allow you to shift into the being state. And I don't know if I've forgotten anything else.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so when Brenda first created the product, so it's the 2 physical balls, and then also in the kit is a pamphlet that has written directions on the different poses. And subsequent to that, Wendy and I also created a whole video series that also has a couple of extra bonus poses. So if you're more a visual person and you want to see the work in action, so to speak, and get the step-by-step instructions, we now also have video instruction for all of those things. And again, the beauty is you can kind of do one thing for a few minutes a day. If that's all the time you have, you can do a longer practice. So whatever really feels good. And some of these things too, by the way, like the abdominal massage is good for your digestion too. And really it's many of these things are just good for your overall health in general. So really this is a product, even once you're past your fertility, journey or postpartum, menopausal, like it's not just if you're thinking, oh, well, if I only get this kit and I can only use it for a few months, maybe I won't do it. Like really you can do these poses kind of for the rest of your life. And they're good for your partners to do too, by the way, to help optimize their fertility as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely, Debbie. That's what we were telling in the beginning when they connect, that we keep forgetting about our male factor. But I think it's also them, because they have this kind of conception that because they are the strong kind of, side of the balance, feminine and male side. And this, I say something always, these work for same-sex couples too, because there is a male and a female energy. So for that male energy, it's kind of, I think, that kind of fear of, oh, I'm going to be vulnerable, or I'm going to show myself weak. And it's totally the opposite. So I think that this can be implemented, as you say, if you have your other half, do it together.
And that builds intimacy. And it builds a shared experience and all of that, building intimacy without it being about sex. Because I think a lot of times, I mean, this is a whole other bigger subject, but a lot of times, particularly on the fertility journey, sex can become like, okay, it's time.
Like a homework. You're right.
Yeah. So,
yes, the homework.
Yes.
So this part can kind of wake up that part of, the touch, the romanticism, and then it can awake that part that is kind of in the homework and go back to passion. I love, that's another subject we ladies need to talk about it. And you both mentioned something really important, that is, specifically when we go through ART treatment, either IUI or IVF, I wished go back 16 years ago and have met you, or at least find someone that could teach me what you just said. We also have to take care and take over our body. We cannot rely only on the part that is science and medicine, because then we kind of get stuck. We also have a voice. We need to take control of our bodies. I believe 100% that we're born with the perfect body. And when we have any illness, it's just our body talking to us that something is wrong. What you mentioned in the beginning, Wendy, the root cause. So combining the scientific part of this, and again, this method is going to work perfectly, in my opinion, for trying to conceive naturally, and ART. But ART, I think, can have a stronger, impact in the outcome if we combine it with, okay, my doctor tells me this, but let me see what I can do myself to help that, outcome to be the positive result I want, right?
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. I mean, and this
Okay.
speaks to, I've been studying mind body medicine for many decades now. And so I 100% agree. And we just have data on it now too. So this goes back to Alice Domar's, groundbreaking research where she was implementing mind body groups and practices to couples. And so that increased their chance of success, number one. Sometimes even without needing to get to IVF. So the
Yes.
couples were coming in, with the intention of going through IVF, and some of them didn't even need it once they did the mind body piece.
Yeah.
Because again, stress has an impact on us all the time, right? Whether we're talking about fertility or not. So the more we can manage those pieces, and just, it's about, again, receptivity, like increasing the probability. On
Yes.
paper, two people can look exactly the same, and reproduction is more complicated, so even if they look the same on paper, there still may be different factors underneath it. But one person then goes on to conceive and somebody else doesn't. So what's going on? What are those subtle pieces in terms of the mind body stuff, the underlying health in terms of the diet and the toxins? There's so many pieces that have to kind of fall into place. We always joke, sometimes it's amazing to think anyone gets pregnant when you think about all the pieces that have to fall into place.
Yes. Yes.
But the body's the body's amazing, nature's amazing. And so we just have to
Yes.
support it. We have to support it in the best way possible.
Absolutely. You see, in my family, all my aunts, cousins, and all this bunch of people used to get pregnant with the blow of a kiss. I took it for granted. Yes, they blow, boom, I'm
Yeah.
pregnant, everybody. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get pregnant even if I'm 35. And I was the only one from all the 240 something cousins that I have that didn't. So it was really a trauma, and realizing that our body needs also our own touch took years, now, but never is late. I think that even if we decide at some point to say, okay, I'm done with having children, or I am done with doing treatments and I didn't get pregnant, so I choose to move on with my life like it is, still we need to focus that we have to take care of ourselves. Our body is our temple, and
Yes.
we need to take care of it. Now, that's the next question that it comes from all what we are talking. Why not rely solely on doing fertility treatments like we were saying? So why to also go with
Wendy,
this?
you want to jump in?
Well,
Yes.
I think I would be kind of repeating myself. We just kind of said it, right? Because it really is that there's all this data showing and evidence, showing that these mind-body practices have this beautiful positive impact on our body. And what you were just saying, Monica, like whether you decide to you're done with the journey or you're done having children, this is about longevity of our health and well-being. This is about being healthier human beings for the long haul. So that's what we try to tell people, is that this work it's not just about getting pregnant. It's not just about having a healthy pregnancy and, a healthy baby. All of that, yes, we want that to happen, and this can definitely assist with that. But it's really about how does it set you up and give you the tools to be a healthier human being, a better parent, all the things, a better wife, a better friend, just more balanced in your life, and having the tools to be able to, because look, life is happening, and if we didn't know it before, let's just look at the last year and a half, right? Talk about uncertainty, talk about who saw that coming? Nobody, right? And so it really has turned the world upside down. I mean, again, I'm kind of repeating myself, but I was so grateful to have my mind body practices during all of this, and still, but especially in the beginning when things are just like, what is happening? What is happening? It just felt like such a loss, which it has been on so many levels. And this collective grief and this collective kind of heaviness to to everything. So I'm getting off subject, but just to come back to I mean, why not solely rely on the fertility treatments? Because it's not just about the physical either. It's not just about this scientific A plus B equals C. It doesn't work that way. There's all these many layers to who we are. mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, all these beautiful layers that are intricately make up who we are as human beings. And it's also complicatedly beautiful and individual for each of us, you know. But the body really wants to be in a place of homeostasis or balance. That's its natural state. And because of all these factors in our life, the toxins, the stress, the just whatever, all the many things, you know, we can get a little bit off or imbalanced, you know, and it's just the way it is. But if we can start to integrate tools that start to bring us back into the state of relaxation, that start to help us to just feel a little more grounded, just those little shifts back to what I call kind of back to center, just back to the
Yes.
moment, right? You know, Deborah can really speak better to this, but with like the meditation we teach, we hear this all the time. And people are like, well, I can't meditate because I can't like shut my mind off. But that's not really the point of
That's me.
meditation. But that's like, no one's ever going to shut their mind off. The mind is never going to be just fully nothing until we've transitioned into whatever the next realm, you know?
Yeah.
So, and we don't even know then, like, you know, what's really happening. But yeah, I'm rambling now, but just to say that, go ahead, Deborah.
And I was just going to add and sort of slightly say it a different way again, that one of the things that people often get stuck in is this limited thinking pattern of, you know, I can finally be happy when, or I can finally relax when.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we want to flip that around and say, you know, you can be happy right now. You can be relaxed right now. It doesn't mean that, and this is what yoga teaches us, it doesn't mean that there isn't chaos or difficult things around us. But speaking to what Wendy said, can we come back to that center? Can we learn to be present and move towards the sad or the mad or the things that most of the time we're like, I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to be in pain. La, 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 let me go eat, shop, drink, watch Netflix all day, whatever, versus sitting in it. Because when we sit in it, that's when we get to let it go. Truthfully.
Yes, you say it. I love that. That's what it is. We need to allow to feel it. If we are feeling cheaty, we need to feel it, because if we don't feel it and we pile it up, then it's a mess.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
mess.
right.
It's a mess. You know, so if you feel that you want to cry, I am that. If I want to cry, I cry. You know, and when things get so stressed, I always, you know, like my husband says, remember, you need to apply what you just said. Cheat happens, make it Play-Doh. And it's so true. It's like, really, I'm sorry about my language, ladies, but I'm me.
I love it.
But it's so true. And you say it, Debbie, is to go back to center. And you know what I learned too? Happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice.
Absolutely.
You know, yes, we can feel sad. And you say, we allow all the feelings to be felt, because there is no good without bad. There is no love without hate. That's the balance. And like you, Wendy said, you say something that you were kind of going out of the subject. No, you didn't. And I tell you why, because all the chaos that is happening from the last almost 2 years also create a lot of fear and worry in our community. You know, remember in the beginning how many cycles were canceled. I just thought about every woman in this world that went through that. I put myself in that place because I had a canceled cycle. And I know how it is. It's a grieving. So, and even today, there is a lot of members in our community that they still are doubting if to do this or not, because it might affect my fertility, it might affect my pregnancy. So here we are with you two ladies offering an incredible tool that can take us even a moment of life out of that and make us sit and think. You know, we have the choice. And one thing I wanted to mention is our stomach, you know, serotonin. I thought all my life that serotonin was produced more in the brain. It's not. It's in our belly. So when we are stressed, that's why the inflammation happens. It means that there's a mess there. So cortisol is there fighting the serotonin. So let's try to be more chill, because if our belly is happy, all our organs there, I always said, you know, they might be happy. So they're more open to receive and to hold the baby, whatever it is the way there.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And just from, I mean, the neurotransmitters are important. Like you talk about, it's you know, we say it's your second brain, right? Your gut and your heart are your second brain,
Mhm.
essentially. And you have more neurotransmitters down there than you do up there. But just even just the basic stress, the fight or flight pulls blood away from anything non-essential. So digestion shuts down, the reproductive organs shut down, because in that moment, your mind-body system is just trying to help you survive. It doesn't care if you're going to make a baby or digest your food, because if you're not here in 20 seconds, you're not here in 20 seconds. So stress response was meant, it was meant to be turned on for a few seconds to get out of danger and then to be shut off. But because of consciousness and the fact that we can look forward, we do the what ifs. We're anxietizing. It's called, what if this happens? What if this doesn't happen? We turn our poor little fight or flight on like all the time. And that's what creates the inflammation, the chronic diseases, or at least in part, that we're experiencing so much of. So the more, again, Wendy brought it up, the relaxation response is the counterpart, right? Fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic relaxation response. This is where we're meant to live most of the time, in rest and digest, and we call it rest and digest and reproduce. So the more that you can be here, right, the better. We're going to get thrown here just because of life, but it's like, can we shift back here as much as possible?
Yes, and we have now, it's just this now, the present moment, and we always are busy to, oh, yesterday I did this, I feel like crap, and what is going to happen tomorrow? What about now you are alive, you don't know if in the next 10 minutes you're going to be the same. So yes, enjoy the moment and live the present. Now, ladies, I swear to you, I can't talk for hours with you. I want to know, what are some of your favorite tips for our community in trying to conceive, either if it is naturally or art? So whomever of you want to start with, Debbie, and let's go with that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this up, because there's probably two or three main ones that we want to just touch on. And the first one is to begin a mind-body practice as soon as you can. We see so many people find us or coming to us, and they are at the very end of their journey, the very, very end of their journey. And this is like their last shot, you know? And we just, our biggest hope and wish is that we would start to, that people who are even thinking about maybe getting pregnant in the next year or two would start to integrate these practices. Because the thing is that the maturation process for the follicles and the sperm, it takes about 90 to 100 days. So whatever that you're eating or ingesting mentally, emotionally, you know, putting in and on your body, all of those things, whatever you're doing now is going to have an effect on the eggs and sperm 90 to 100 days from now, right? So we say like 3 months is like a healing cycle. So, you know, if I would say, like, if someone's kind of like, I don't have a lot of time, then give yourself at least 3 months, 3 to 6 months, ideally. And again, you know, if you could even start earlier, there's no harm in that, because you're really just setting yourself up. Again, going back to, it's the longevity. Look at the long game. You know, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And it's not just about getting pregnant, because then once people get pregnant, then they're like, okay, am I going to hold the pregnancy? And now, and then it's like, once they, what about the labor and delivery? I mean, there's always going to be something. Oh, my kid's going to preschool. Now what? You know, it's just, there's always going to be a thing. So that would be the first tip, is just start as soon as you can with, you know, look at how are you managing stress, what lifestyle changes can you make, dietary changes, really starting to minimize as much as we can the environmental toxins. I mean, again, that's a whole other bigger subject, which we'd love to talk about at some point. It's definitely something we're passionate about. But you know, it's like there's only so much we can do with that, but there are, again, choices we can make around that as well. So
yeah, and I'm just going to add in, and all of those things Wendy just said, for the partner too, right?
Yes.
Because when we were talking about that earlier, I was going to say, you know, typically statistics are it's 1/3 female factor, 1/3 male factor, and then 1/3 it's a male-female combo.
That's right.
So, you know, the guys need to be eating well and managing their stress and doing all of that good stuff too, because it's impacting their sperm. And you know, I think more people know this now, but you know, men for a long time used to think, well, I can have a baby in my 70s or whatever. But
Yeah.
guess what? Their sperm also starts to have a shelf life too. So
Mm-hmm.
after 40 to 42, their sperm is more likely to have damage and to increase the risk factor for learning disabilities, ADHD, autism, schizophrenia, you know, all kinds of developmental stuff as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just on us ladies. They need to do their part too. So
I love that you said, because yes, there is this kind of a little bit machoistic thought about that. And again, for me, it's not even something that I judge. It goes to the vulnerability and the way we as women and then men as men were raised, or that male female energy. So it's definitely super, super important. Ladies, listen, definitely I think we need to go another live, because with you is so much to talk, all of this about environmental toxins, you know, really the choosing of taking care of ourselves. I am a person that I go every day with trillions of thoughts in my head. For me, it's very difficult, I have to say, to meditate. But you say, Wendy, our mind never shut up. So even if it is 5 minutes of silence and trying to visualize things, it helps. You know, it really, really helps. And I truly appreciate your knowledge, you know, the fact that you are here as a team in our community, offering to us a method that really, as you say in the beginning, when the acupuncture is amazing. I did it in my last cycle, and I'm sure that that's something that helped me to also reach having my Maya now 8. But you say it too, not everybody can afford it. It depends on where we live. Places are very expensive. So I used to do once a week. I didn't have the balls in that time. I wish to, and still it works. So imagine combining at least once a week or once every 2 weeks that with the fertility yoga, with the fertility ball method. And it's really something that is it's easier for people that maybe don't have the resources to do it so often.
Sure.
I really would love to have you more, but before we cut our live, I want each of you to give a last message, a quote, or something to our community to let them know that we are here, that we went through the same, and that we are here to support them. What would be? Please, Debbie, what you would say?
okay. A couple of them will come to mind, but I guess I'll start with one of the ones we say often, which is control what you can and let go of everything else. Right? So really focus on the parts you can do. There's so many things in life we can't, but focus your energy on that. You're going to feel more empowered.
Yes, for
Thank you,
sure.
Deb. You, Wendy.
Yeah. I would say, and this is one we say as well, is if you really want to be a parent or a mother, you will be. You may not know the how or the when, but it'll happen. And that also speaks to those who, as we were talking earlier, that, you know, choose to mother in different ways, right? So that's what I would leave everyone with. So
Thank you so much, ladies. I truly love you, and we need to talk. I'm going to just send you an email. But
yes.
before we cut, please, everyone, you can start to follow at living_Lela. So these two ladies are going to be there. I'm going to have in the link in my bio the link to get your fertility ball method. I have a coupon code discount for my followers, thanks to these beautiful ladies. And if you have any questions regarding this live, is going to be in my feed all the time. I never delete the lives because sometimes people want to watch them later. If you have any questions or comments, you can post it there below the comments and tag either me or Living Lela, and be assured that we respond to your questions or to your comments. Thank you so much, everyone, again, for being here. Wendy, thank you so much. Debbie, thank you so much. And this is not going to be our first time.
Thank you so much for having us. This was so much fun. So when we end the practice, if you don't mind, Monica, we like to say, so most people are familiar with namaste, namaste rather,
Namaste.
which is the light or divine in me sees that in you. We close our practice by saying namaste, which is the light or divine mother in me sees the light and divine mother in you. So we say to you and everyone out there, namaste.
Namaste. Oh, look, you. Namaste.
Oh.
Oh, hi,
He just came from school. Goodbye, ladies. Kisses. Love you.
Bye-bye.
love you too.
Bye.
Thank you, Monica. Bye.
Anytime. Bye. Say bye.